Welcome to Stepping on the Mat podcast, episode 007 with me, Aaron Martinez. My guest today is a multi-sport high school athlete who has left an impression on us all. He's a four-time Iowa High School state place winner, a Fargo All-American. He was first-team All-State defensive lineman. He's a state place winner in track. He'll be suiting up in the black and gold next year or this next season to play football at the University of Iowa. His most recently is the 2022 Iowa High School 3A state wrestling champion. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Maddux, Fortune and Johnson. Welcome, Maddux.
Hi.
Hi, how's it? Yeah, that's like your famous thing right there. Even from wrestling, I remember you standing on the podium and giving the little salute. Where'd that come from?
Me and my mom were just talking, and she's like, it's her queen wave, and I really liked it, so
Yeah.
I kind of added it to every time I win a tournament. I do a little wave to the crowd.
Yeah, it's nice. Like it's everybody thinks you're this. I mean, you are this big enormous figure. You know, you're 6'3", right?
Yeah.
6'3". What's your weight right now?
Probably around 280.
280, and just gives the old princess wave up top. I love it. It's like it's like your signature. So, how's things been going this summer?
It's been going good. Just kind of coming to terms that I'm going to be going to this whole new life down in up in Iowa City, and I'm just kind of excited. It's going to be all change, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have like a new room, a new location, new things around you, new people, new influences, new perspective. Like I said, I seen you this morning out on the track, so you've been staying busy, not just taking the summer off. You've been out there every day. Yeah. What are you doing?
Just getting some work in, getting prepared to go up to Iowa City, work out. I
Yeah.
know it's going to be quite tough. Heard lots of stories about the workouts there, so just getting ready for that and preparing my body.
Yeah. And you're staying in shape. What's it like hanging out with kids? And obviously, you were out there getting strength and conditioning today, and you have probably some underclassmen that are there. What's that like? Do they come up and chat with you a lot, or they kind of avoid you?
They kind of avoid me, They're like, Maddux, just close this book, because I've been there so long.
Yeah, they're waiting for you to move on so they can jump in.
Yeah.
The new king of the school. I gotcha. So yeah, let's do a little deep dive in and do some origin story. I'm always into origin story. I think that's a great way to get to know people, especially in terms of if we're looking at a facet of something. So let's talk about wrestling first. I see you got the Warriors wrestling shirt on. I appreciate that. That's looking good. So tell me how you got into wrestling and why.
So I went out, third grade was my first year of football, and I really struggled, It's different. I didn't do a lot of sports did a lot of sports when I was young. Lots of kids start when they're 5 or 6. I didn't start until I was about third grade. And I really struggled. I just couldn't really get the premise of being tough, I was a little bit of a pushover. I was a little soft. So Jim McCombs, he's probably a big reason why I really got into wrestling. But I went out third grade.
And how'd you meet Jim? Like you said, he's a big part of this. How'd you meet Jim McCombs?
So we were looking for ways to get my feet better, get me tougher, just get me a better athlete.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to go out for wrestling. So I went out my first year, and it was tough. I can't recall winning a single match. So it's kind of a tough thing, but it taught me so many lessons, like how to lose.
Yeah.
What's it like to lose? Because, I've never really been in a competition sport until then. So I learned a lot. But then, all that losing, it's kind of tough. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm really cut out for this. And he was like, give it one more year, man. Give it one more year. My second year of wrestling, ended up finishing 5th at state. Ended up getting 4th at districts, coming and getting placing at state. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround. Yeah. Go from not having a match win to the next year. Was it AAU state or the?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and that's a big deal too. I mean, to be able to go from nothing to walk up and get 5th place in that. So big shout out to Jim McCombs. So when you met Jim McCombs, was he coaching you in a different sport, or you just knew him from the community?
Yeah, I just knew him from the community because we're just looking around and we're like, what's going to get me better at football? And we're thinking about wrestling. And then he's like, yeah, go out for wrestling. It'll be tough.
Okay, so like you got through that fifth place, at state, at the kids state, AU state. So like that obviously motivated you to continue to push through the sport. So when did you start seeing was that major turnaround that next season? Did you start like getting on the winning board a lot more than you did the previous year?
Yeah, so through from fourth grade up till about eighth, that was like the growth, just really learning what wrestling's about, learning about it. I don't think I had my first cut till about seventh grade.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like started building the premise for me, because then after I started excelling in wrestling, I started excelling in everything else. I got better at football, made me meaner, made me quicker, just made me more flexible, just made me a whole different player that next year. Because the same year I had my breakout year in wrestling, I had a breakout year in football.
Yeah, isn't that's interesting how that works? Like breakthroughs, and it doesn't. Same with like mental health or anything like that. Like you have a good breakthrough, and then whatever you're doing to apply that change usually rolls over into like everything else you're doing in your life, right? So that's a blessing from wrestling, and that's why I always continue to try to motivate people to hit the wrestling room or find jiu-jitsu or something like that, because these sports are so hard, but they cover so many different facets of your life besides just like getting the sport done, getting the technique or the play done, right? So yeah, when did me and you run into each other in the youth wrestling? Was that first or second year?
Oh, I don't know. I know I met Asaya before you, and I think
Yeah.
growing up, he was probably one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. I remember him always having those battles with that McCrae.
Yeah. McCrae, and then the other kid. What is his name? Anyways, yeah, McCrae. McCrae was.
But what I saw is that, like, the difference between seeing like a regular kind of Joe kid wrestle,
Yeah.
and like seeing what Asaya was doing, was Asaya would go out there and he'll try and dominate you, and that kind of like.
Yeah, he's a pinner.
Yes, like Asaya is gonna manhandle you, and he's gonna fight you. Like, I just saw like he didn't give anything up, and it kind of stuck with me. Like, you can't just give things up in that sport, and that's like the difference between like an okay wrestler and a great wrestler. So
Yeah.
little things from different people is what I picked up through the years of wrestling. Like being on the teams with like McCrae Haggerty and all those big names, Jake Walker.
Yeah.
I learned lots of lessons about how to separate myself, and kind of built on throughout my career.
Yeah. I can remember seeing. We used to be neighbors. Yeah. So like, I always remember seeing you boys out there, and I was like, yes, there's boys in the neighborhood, right? Yeah. So I can get some playing. But yeah, you guys were always like tough kids. You and your brothers were always pretty tough and humble too as well. So moving in, so like making your transfer out of the youth program, going into the middle school. What was your successes like then?
So then that's when I really started to like separate myself. And I think my middle school career, I only lost one like actual school match. And my 8th grade year, I was the Triple Crown. I won USA and state, and I won that Golden Hawk tournament.
Yeah, that's awesome. A little trifecta right there. Yeah, big improvements. I can remember you in the youth wrestling room. I can remember your mom always sitting in the corner. Sometimes I'd see your dad over there too. And just like, I remember one time, I was pushing you pretty hard. You weren't as big then. Yeah. I was pushing you pretty hard, and your mom was like, I was like, I don't know if he likes it, like, I don't know if he like, if I giving too much, and she's like, no, you got to keep pushing him, because that's how he responds. Yeah. And I'm glad that was there. We got to see that early, because I seen how you excelled that. And you just took off at some point. You got your confidence and you got your work ethic down, and like you said, you were modeling yourself around these other guys to get through those bigger matches. So then we move into high school.
So I came out my 8th grade year, and I know I'm pretty good, but it was confidence that I really struggled with, because everybody, like, heavyweight's more of like a age dominated kind of weight. Like, sure. Like at like 106, you can have like any grade be good, like a freshman could come and win it and stuff like that. But 8th grade, in heavyweight, that's where it's like separated by like men and boys.
Sure.
So it was just kind of like building my confidence to know that I can compete with these guys. Because, I came out my first match, I won it, but it was that tournament with a Keith Young, and I went up against Dawson Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big ranked guy, and I always kind of doubt myself. I never know, like, am I really able to compete with guys like these? But after, like, going out there and I kind of hammered him,
Mm-hmm.
upset, like, the number 4 ranked guy. Kind of just what my freshman year taught me is, like, how to build my confidence and know that all my work will pay off, because even though they're older and stuff, I work harder than you and I can excel.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned, and it carried on. So that's what I like took apart from my freshman year.
So yeah, that's a big separation. Did you notice a big separation and change of like middle school wrestling to high school wrestling?
Yeah, so it's a lot harder. It's a lot more grueling, and it's a lot more mentally tough. Like, you just think it'd be physically tough. It tests your mentality because, it gets long, and all the working out, you'll wrestle a duel on Thursday, go wrestle a tournament on Saturday, and then repeat the next week for a whole season. And then you get up to state, and you've just had a grueling season going against tough matches. I know I didn't have a lot of pins my freshman year, lots of ultimate tiebreaker matches. So it was just tough to, like, man, this is tough.
Yeah, there's a pace to it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I sitting in the crowd, it's even a pace for the fans to sitting there that come, getting up all, on Saturday mornings, make sure you're there, whatever you're doing at work to get there on Thursday night. And then just like, boom, boom, boom. It's like, doesn't stop for a while. It feels like it's an eternity. No wonder why people take long vacations after wrestling season. So what was it? Let's back it up again here before we jump into the high school portion of your wrestling career. Tell me what it was like just kind of growing up for you here in Norwalk, and, having your brothers and
What I don't know. It's kind of tough. So I just had like a basic childhood, but I stayed disciplined, like what I did. Like, I always made sure to have good friends, hanging around the right people. Always trying to focus on school and my sports. Always being just a disciplined person throughout life. I never like try to get into partying or anything like that. Norwalk's been a great environment. I love the community. Had lots of people like pushing me in the right way. So growing up in Norwalk has really helped me like define myself, and being here has helped me stay around the right people.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So what do you and your brothers like to do, like when you were, kids kind of, versus like now? I know you guys all starting to kind of like pull your different directions and stuff, but like when you were kids, when I'd see you guys running around the yard, what was your guys' thing? What was you guys into?
Just trying to beat each other up and stuff like that. Someone makes the other one mad, and then the other two will gang up on them, or be me trying to catch Colin so I can wrestle him down and bully him a little bit. I don't know. That's lots of what we did. It's just fight.
I was over visiting your dad, I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, and I heard Caden come downstairs, and he was like looking for his fishing stuff. You guys still fish?
Yeah, they go fishing a lot. We fish down lake.
Yeah, because it's like right in the backyard, right? It's good catfish over there, crappie. Yeah, nice. What else did you guys do and get into when you guys were kids besides beating each other up and fighting for food?
Played lots of paintball.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Throw the football around quite a bit.
Yeah. So, have you played paintball a lot, or airsoft, or tried any of that stuff?
I was thinking about getting the airsoft.
You should. Like me and Asaya were talking about getting a game going, like, because he likes playing, I like playing. Soon. Get out and play. There's a range just right out there. It's pretty good. It's got a big course and lots of people play. So yeah, let me know if you want to go. We'll throw down. Okay, so you got your brothers, and like, did you feel like there was any like any rivalry between you guys, or were you guys all about like pushing each other to grow further into your sports?
Now there's more of a rivalry, but back in the day it was just kind of like seeing where we're at and like how much we can grow. We all just kind of like the great thing about having those two is there's always two guys that are watching your back and making sure you're doing the right thing. So having them around was just great motivation. Like, if I see Colton trying to beat me in some sprints, it's gonna make me want to run harder and stuff like that. So it's really great to push each other, but recently now, since I'm leaving, now they're just trying to see if they can ever one up me before I leave. So
Sure. I mean, that's cool though, man. If you set records, I mean, that's what records are there for. You know, we always have our little records in life, you know, and then someone breaks it, but that's, you know, just a test of like you gave somebody else a motivation, whether they want to admit it or not, you know, like you were the driving force for that. So
yeah.
who's what's it like? What's Caden like on the football field? I don't think I've seen him play too much. I've been to a couple games.
So right now I feel like he's trying to find like where he belongs. He's a great athlete.
He played receiver last year?
No,
or
he played
D-back?
Cornerback. Yeah.
Cornerback. Yeah, I love cornerback, man.
Yeah,
It's a great position.
He was a quarterback most of his life, but
Really?
yeah.
He's tall, man.
I know.
What's how tall is he right now?
6'2".
6'2", so he's an inch shorter than you.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's always been like a freak athlete. Like, he can run fast, he can jump high, he can move quick. But it's just kind of like finding where does he stick, because he's such like a versatile kid. You can put him anywhere in the skilled position, he could probably thrive. So
Yeah.
I know he's going to the Iowa camp. He's going to go for QB, and then he's going to go, I think, like a week later and go for DB. Just kind of like show them how versatile and athletic he is.
Sure.
Right now, we're trying to get him a little bigger, you know, though, because that's probably his only downside. He's a little skinnier. So
Skinny. He's thin, yeah. Thin for his height, but he'll fill out.
I think
he's a sophomore right now, getting ready to be a junior, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got a little bit of room to grow. Shoot, look at some pictures of you like last year and the year before. You had the little baby face, and now you're all filling out, looking like a man. So that's awesome. So what about your football origin story then? Since we got multi-sport athlete here, let's talk about how'd you get into football.
So the thing about football is never really started picking up till high school. I really kind of saw myself as a big wrestler guy. Wrestling has really dominated my the younger parts of my life. So football, you know, I just kind of played the sport, but it didn't give me like the thrill that wrestling gives me.
Sure.
Back in the day. So back like in like the youth club, you know, it's just you're just playing football with your friends, but when you wrestle, it's you on the mat.
Yeah.
And that's the thrill I get out of that, because I get to kind of like prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's a football team, it's a team thing. So I could do my part, but like somebody throws an interception or something, I can't really control that.
Yeah.
But when I'm on the mat, it's like the outcome is like what I did throughout the match. So
yeah, you own that 100%. I totally agree with you. I played both. I played 3 sports as well. And I got the same feeling from football. Football was really enjoyable to me because like there was a crowd and I had a team. So we all like, even when we lost, it was like, we kind of sucked that up as a team. You know, we didn't like, there wasn't an individual that got blamed or whatnot. But wrestling was like, you know, once you're out of the practice room and it's Thursday night, you know, you got to get, if you're cutting weight, you know, you got to get that part done. And that's one win or a loss, you know, it depends on how your body's feeling afterwards. But then you got to go perform, you know, and there is that, a part of you that's really internalized in that. And it, to me, wrestling memories stay with people the longest as well, you know, because they're just so impactful, whether it's a big win or a big loss. So just like wrestling, when was the big turnover for you when you're like, hey, you know, this is my thing. I think football is where this is where I'm going to be on the gridiron, is where I'm going to succeed at.
Probably my sophomore year, I really blew up because it was my first varsity game. And I know we got destroyed by Carlisle, but I made a couple of good plays, made a couple of bad plays, but I realized, man, I'm really feeling this, you know, like,
yeah,
I can make a career out of this. Like, I was having so much more fun than back when it's like little kids, you know, because it was more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a lot more what I was doing. And being on the high school level, just going up against tougher competition, it started giving me the feeling I was having when I wrestle. So,
yeah. So when did you start varsity? Was that your sophomore year?
Yeah.
Awesome. Was there a lot of sophomores that had came up and played?
Not that I could think of. I know me, and then Noah Mulford. I know he played a little bit near the endish, I think, or he might have started at the beginning. But I know that There wasn't a lot. Dylan Rank, maybe Landon Hookstein. I think he was backup QB. Landon was, but Dylan Rank might have been up there too.
Yeah. Who was your coaches during your high school career for football?
So Patterson, he was the head coach, and then my D-line coach was Tom Scallon. And I couldn't probably recall all of them. I know Livingston was linebackers, and Schmitz taught the DBs.
Yeah, what's he doing these days? Is he like assigned as football coach, or is he Coach Schmitz? I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is he like an athletic director or something?
So now
like
he's just strength and conditioning only. He's just always doing workouts. That's all he does now. He plans the workouts. He builds them for the athletes. So like the volleyball workouts, the cross country workouts, and then he runs them.
Yeah, he's always got great rapport with the kids. You know, he's good. He's a good connector. He connects well with them. So what would you say would be one of your highlights from your high school football career?
So Glenwood, I think it was a playoff game. We were kind of hanging with them. I think we were losing at halftime-ish, but my dad came over, gave a really heartfelt speech, and then just seeing the fire light in everybody, seeing like all that energy build up was great. And then we went out there and we hammered them and we won. I got an interception, which was pretty cool. That, and then Indianola.
How did that? I got to hear about the interception. Like, how did that?
So I think it was Caden Johnson. He tipped the ball, just fell right into my arms.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. If I didn't fumble it for like 5 seconds trying to like bring it in, I think I might have been able to run that baby in.
Have you ever done that? Have you done that on the defensive side?
No, I
haven't. You know, to run one back?
No.
Oh, the fun is to come.
Yeah.
Let's see that. Let's see that on the Hawkeye football field. Yeah. So what about disappointments on the football field?
This year, I had a lot of disappointments. As like a team, I feel like we had so much potential. We had some really great athletes. Braden Carlson's a great athlete. Landon Hookstein's a great athlete. Dylan Rank's a great athlete. Noah Mulford's a great athlete. Just so many names that come to mind. And I feel like we could have made it farther than what we did. I feel like we just did what we were projected to do, but I felt like we could have done more.
Sure.
And I felt like we could have made a run in the playoffs. I felt like we could have made it to the Dome. It's just little things that messed us.
Who did you guys end up losing to?
Our last game, we ended up losing to Bondurant. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you were supposed to. I had heard during the interview that maybe you were looking at Iowa State too. Not looking, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my recruitment process was pretty short. So at the end of my sophomore year that summer, I ended up going to an Iowa State camp, and Iowa State offered me. And then about a week later, Iowa offered me. And then about a week later, I committed to Iowa, but I really liked Iowa State. I liked Matt Campbell. They were just really nice guys, you know, but I just felt like I connected better with the D-line coach at Iowa and, like, the program itself, so.
Yeah, and like, that's like a dream come true for you, right? You're a Hawkeye fan, right? Mm-hmm. So what was that? Did that come in a letter, the offer come in a letter? Did it come from, was it a phone or verbal offer? Or?
So they invited me down to Iowa City, and I took, like, a view of, like, a tour of the football facility, and he showed me all their bowl rings and stuff, and then he's like, well, to cut to the point, I'd like to give you an offer. And I was like, whoa.
How did that, tell me how that felt, like just kind of being in that moment.
It just kind of like, it's like unreal, you know, like, is this really happening? Am I dreaming? Kind of moment for me. It was just like, I don't know, just kind of like satisfaction too, like all the times I've worked my butt off in the room, on the field, and in the wrestling room, and the weight room, and stuff like that, kind of was like led to that moment, and that's what I kind of think about it like. Yeah.
What was the shockwave like for your family?
I think my dad started crying, and they just came in and hugged me and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got to see some of your dad's tears at the state tournament.
Yeah.
Too. Those are those great tears that everybody hopes that they can have in their life with their family, just like those moments of satisfaction, like you were saying, and I believe that's in your hard work too. Hard work and consistency
Yeah.
is what got you where you're at. So yeah, that's like fulfillment, right? Like fulfillment stage, like, it's your favorite team. It could be if you could put it in your top three, that would be number one, and to get that blessing off and get that offer. So what was life like directly after that? Do you feel like, because obviously the word got out, people knew about it, and I'm sure people were coming up and talking to you, especially Iowa fans.
Yeah, so it kind of just put me on the map, Lots of people wanted to reach out, talk to me, interview me.
Yeah.
It just kind of like changed my life from then, because, well, now you're like a big shot.
Yeah, yeah.
So lots of people knew me, and I kind of like had to change how I was. Like, now I can't be like a guy that could go out and mess around and get in trouble because I have so much bigger things going on for me. Kind of like opened my eyes up and,
Right.
kind of showed me that, like, whoa, like.
Now, where does that come from? I mean, obviously, we heard some clarity out of you earlier talking about, like just staying away from different scenes and like just the community itself helped create, this person who you are now. So, and a lot of kids wouldn't be able to do that. A lot of kids would take that and be like, hey, I'm big shot. I can just act crazy now because I got in. I made it. So where does that come from for you, that you think that character in you to just realize the position you were in and just to say, hey, let me play this with caution and with respect?
So lots of talks from Patterson talking about how we reflect like the program we are. Like when people see us, we're Norwalk football players. So if you go around and mess around, they're going to be like, look at the Norwalk football team and how they act. And I don't want people to think of Iowa like that. Like, look at this big Iowa commit, all big-headed and acting like a fool in public. I just want to reflect how I think of their program, and I think of their program as a real respectable, hard-working.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great transfer, because I believe that the Norwalk school and the community here allowed you that, that chance for you to kind of fit in and also help mentor and shape other kids that are on, when you see a kid that's a state champion, when a kid and that's a multi-sport athlete that's successful in all of them, and is a good talk, and a handsome young man at the same time, it's like that's the kids that everybody wants to be like, right? So I appreciate that out of you, that you're helping reflect a good community here. But on top of that is who inspires you?
Lots of people. I'm really inspired by like my grandpa. Kyvan Gatson inspires me. I know him personally from my brother Caden, my mom.
And he was on the commentary for your finals match as well.
Yeah, I heard him. My mom inspires me a lot. My dad inspires me a lot.
Well, let's pick one thing out of the people you just mentioned, and just one thing that you can share about each one of those people that they've done to inspire you, or led to inspire you.
My grandpa just taught me about hard work. Seeing he's worked hard his whole life, and it's really shown me like I like that, like how respected he is for like how hard he works. Like when I go up to, he lives in Strawberry Point. When I go up there, everybody just knows him as a hard-working man.
Strawberry Point. That's where your mom's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is your mom's dad. I've been up there before. They got some cool climbing places up there.
Yeah. So I just like how everybody knows him as a hard-working man, and that's like how I want people to think of me. Just like, man, that guy works hard.
Yeah.
And my mom, same thing. She works really hard, and one thing though, she's always been in my corner. Like from back in the youth wrestling days, where she'd come to every practice and sit on those little uncomfortable little bleachers.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, they were. Those things were super uncomfortable.
yeah, sit there for a couple hours just watching me get beat up by you and Major and Blomgren, people like that. Just kind of like how she's been there from in that room to the Wells Fargo Arena when I finally won the state title.
Yeah, what a powerful moment, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Kyvan Gatson, just how down to earth he is. Like, he's an NCAA champ.
Yeah.
So him taking the time to do that for my brother meant so much. Like the helping him encourage to get better at reading, put in the work. Really stepped out. I want to be someone like that gives back to the community.
Yeah.
He's just a down to earth guy too. Like when you talk to him, he doesn't seem like this big wrestler that used to wrestle Kyle Snyder and stuff like that. So it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's just got like that, like, down to earth. He's just super down to earth and calm and just fun. You can see the humorous side that exists in there too.
Yeah.
So that's a great list of folks. Yeah, you can always kind of tell when people mention their grandparents in that list and their mom, I can tell what kind of person they are pretty quick, like just those are great, like, genetical connections too, right? There's an understanding and connection between your grandfather and between you and your mom, right? Me and your dad was kind of talking about this. He was like, yeah, Jeannie's getting all emotional that Maddux is going to be leaving. I was like, mothers and sons have a different genetical connection that makes that emotional sense a lot different than it is between a man, a dad and his son. So I'm glad you guys have that connection, and she's always been there to support you, even though those seats were pretty hard.
Yeah.
Let's move on to conversation here. So you were this year's homecoming king as well. So Triple Crown, you're the homecoming king.
Yeah.
You're doing it on all levels, man. So that, I'm sure that was like not your favorite thing to do, but like it's a cool thing to have though. You've been recognized by your peers because it's a voting process, from my understanding, right? And there's only one king, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't get to be a bunch of them. There's a court, and then there's the king. So what was that like? Just kind of stepping out. I know that you probably don't like to be out and people talking about you all the time, but
it was fun, kind of got a chance to talk to the little kids. We went through all the other schools, the elementary schools, just kind of like show them that if you're a positive, nice guy, that you can become a homecoming king. It was that was probably the best part of it, getting to go through the schools and just hang out with the future generations and just talk to them.
Yeah, for sure. I was talking to, when Harper was here, when I was interviewing Harper, I was telling him the same thing. He's like, sometimes when we visit people, we kind of like, especially in high school, they're like, oh man, I want to do this thing that I got to go to the elementary school. But like when you take the opportunity, man, those kids that's the future, right? Kids are always the future. So, when they can look up to somebody and be like, hey, I know that guy, or they're going to watch you on TV when you're playing football, they're going to be like, I know him, he came to my school. So, that'll always, just like we named off some of the mentors and people who inspire you, you're going to be in that list of people that'll inspire the next generation. So, so what else do you like to do? Tell me some other things before we keep going, diving into wrestling and football aspect. What are some other things that you're just kind of into?
I like video games.
What's your current game right now?
Been playing a lot of Spider-Man. There's a new one coming out. I had to refresh my memory on it.
Yeah. Did you see the movie, the new Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It like, at first it's like I'm watching a cartoon, but then like you're like deeply in it. It's really good. I think, matter of fact, I think the kids were upstairs watching it today. So playing Spider-Man, video games.
Yeah, I've been getting better at Madden too, because it's gonna probably be some good Madden players up in Iowa City.
I imagine so.
Yeah, so I gotta get better. I tried playing some 2K, but I just can't get into that.
Yeah, who's the video game guy at your house? Who's the better?
Probably me.
It's gonna be on the night. Now you said it, right? They're gonna be like, yeah, I heard you. No, I beat you in that one game. That's awesome. So trying to figure out other things that you might have been into, and I heard you were like into John Wick.
Oh yeah, John Wick's tough. I love that guy.
So you've seen all the John Wick movies. What do you like about, like, what is it about the John Wick series that you like besides it just being an awesome series?
It's the way they describe him in the first one. They're like, he's a man of focus, discipline, unimaginable determination. And I was like, gosh, I want to be like that guy. And
Yeah.
then he just dominates everybody. So
Yeah.
the way he's described, I just thought that was so cool. And then the way he shows it too, it's just like,
And the fight scenes are
yeah,
like intense always.
but he's just like the top of the food chain. That's kind of like what I want to do. I want to climb and climb and climb till I'm the John Wick of, football or whatever I'm doing. I just want to be that guy that like everybody knows my name. Everybody knows that I can do like crazy things, and I'm a man of focus, unimaginable determination, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you pulled that out.
Yeah, it just gets me hyped.
Yeah. Do you like watch like John Wick movies? Do you do anything like before you go out and have a big tournament? You're like, I gotta watch something or listen to certain things.
No, so what I found out in my early age is if I listen to like some music or if I get myself too pumped up, then I wrestle irrational. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just be like, ah, just I'm gonna be like after the first period, I gotta catch my breath because I'm just not thinking. When I wrestle, I have to be like cool minded.
Yeah.
But like
I agree with you. Music changes a lot of mood and energy for sure.
Gets me too pumped up. I feel like when I wrestle.
Yeah. So let's do is I got a couple. I like to work in threes. I'm a big numbers guy. So like, I'm gonna ask you 3 questions about John Wick movie. How about that? Is that fair?
Sure.
So John Wick, Keanu Reeves, the person who plays John Wick is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
What other martial arts has he trained in?
What other ones?
Yeah, real ones. Like obviously like when guys do stunts, they have stuntmen, but a lot of actors do scenes where they're actually performing these.
I swear he does jujitsu, right?
Yep, he does Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Take a guess. You got guesses. You got 2 other ones.
Muay Thai?
Nope.
No. Judo?
Judo. Yep, that's number 2. And the other one you probably never guessed. It's another form of jiu-jitsu, which is the Japanese jiu-jitsu. So I found that interesting that, I knew that he had been training because we've seen it on social media that he's taken a high interest in jiu-jitsu and competing in it. But I think that's good when actors can do that, and they don't just like play the part. There's some authenticity because they understand like form and the contact of martial arts and have a good understanding of it. So that's question number 1. You got that right. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Keanu Reeves has been studying that. Let me see what the other question is. What kind of car did John Wick drive?
It's a Mustang, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right. That's ding, ding, ding. You got number 2. Yeah. So it was a 1969 Mustang. So the question, we're going to pass this question off to you now, is like, what's your favorite car? If you could have any car in the world that fits who you are as a person, what would that car be?
Fits me as a person?
I think you got to have that. I mean, you got to have nice cars, but like everybody's like, when they see my Jeep, they're like, it's like when your dog looks like you a little bit.
Man, I don't know.
And you're big too. You might not be able to, be like Shaq. You got to like get cars extended.
I always like a nice looking Chrysler 200. I had my own Chrysler 200, but it was kind of beat up. But I know one of my neighbors has a nice looking Chrysler. I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
Or a Camaro.
Camaro.
Yeah, nice Camaro.
Cool. So like muscle cars. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, that's a good question right there. Anybody else at home want to figure out what kind of car fits you? I like that. Like what car? Because you could drive a car. Yeah. But if it doesn't match you, like it'd be like you seeing you in like a Fiat or something like that. You're a Mini Coupe or something. Yeah. It just wouldn't look right? Yeah. So, okay, third question here is how many people does John Wick kill? What's his official count?
Gosh. I'm going to say 500 something.
Close. 77.
Really?
77. Yeah, I looked up the quiz, obviously. I thought it was cool because that's like the number that's on my hat as well. Yeah. So like I said, I'm a numbers guy. So 77, that's my birth year. But it's also, represents God's number, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any numbers that like synchronize with you?
3.
3's it? Yeah, I did mention that earlier. 3 questions for Maddux.
Yeah,
3's your number. Do you see it often? Like Or is it just like a number you feel lucky about?
It's a number I feel lucky about.
Cool.
I
yeah.
think of like God, Jesus, and
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
Spirit.
yeah. The Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the trifecta. That's good. You're gonna be 56. Are you? Are you suit? You don't know yet.
No. So if the number's already taken, I can't choose it, and I'll probably try to get like a number in the 90s. That's what lots of the best D linemen have.
Yeah.
But I think 56 is already taken. So.
And you were 58 in high school, right?
I was 56.
56 in high school. Okay. Yeah, people were like some synchronized with numbers, like another number I synchronized with is 9/11. That number like has synchronized with me all through my life. People's dates, birth dates and weddings and all this stuff. It's always synchronized on 9/11. But that could be a conspiracy. Are you into conspiracy theories at all?
A little bit.
Really? Like what's your like current one that you're just like, can you believe this happened? Or
that April 15th is an unlucky day.
April 15th is an unlucky day. Why is that?
Yeah, I think so. Abe Lincoln got shot on April 15th, and I'm pretty sure the Titanic sank on April 15th.
Oh, so what's the conspiracy behind that?
I don't know. April 15th.
It's just a bad luck day.
Yeah, just stay inside.
Abe Lincoln was a wrestler.
I know. He was pretty good too.
Yeah, from my understanding, wasn't he like 6'4" or something like that too? He's a tall dude.
Yeah,
he's built like Caden. Caden Lincoln. That's awesome. Any other conspiracies that like stir your mind?
None that I can think of right now.
But I always try to like in the jiu-jitsu community, like everybody's got a conspiracy. They're like, did you hear the world is flat? They're like always on some conspiracy. So I'm trying to search and dive to see if it exists in the wrestling community as well. So what else do you like doing? What else do you like doing for fun?
Taking naps.
Taking naps?
Yeah.
And you like Family Guy? I seen you like Family Guy.
Yeah, I like watching Family Guy.
What's your favorite character on Family Guy?
I like Chris. I think he's a little underrated on how funny he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like how they all roll each other. The voice differences. They're just great characters. So,
Yeah.
So moving on here. So you're a 3-time place winner at the Iowa High School Wrestling Tournament. So, and tell me what years those were, and then what place did you place at?
So, 2020 I got 4th. 2021 I got 3rd. 2022 I got 3rd, and then 2023 I won it.
Yeah. So, and you're the first state champion from Norwalk in like 30 years. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You're going to be on that wall of fame up there. It's
so.
pretty cool. I mean, that's people take that stuff for granted, it's like, it's not a big deal, but to me, that's history. It's there forever. It's locked in, and that was like one of my first thoughts that came to my mind after you won. And I was like, dude, he's in there forever. I've walked by the trophy cases at Norwalk 100 times, and that's cool that your face is always going to be there forever, man.
Yeah.
So we got 3 superheroes that have came out of Norwalk: Aquaman, Superman, and then Maddux, Fortune, and Johnson. It's a 3rd superhero, man. You guys doing it big. So what was out of your, obviously the state, getting the state finals, getting that job done is a great memory, but out of those other experiences, it's the state tournament. What do you think like was the hardest and the most memorable for you?
Wrestling back from 3rd my junior year. That was a pain in the butt. Lost to someone I could have beat. Just didn't have the win. Just underestimated him. Just lots of little things that built up, and I didn't go to sleep that night. I was up all night, just
after the loss or before the
after the loss.
The consolation match.
After the loss. Oh yeah, after that loss, the semis that night, I didn't get a wink of sleep. And then I come back, I'm already out of it, because this is going to be my 2nd time wrestling back. This was my 3rd time wrestling back after losing in the semis. Just really tough, heart-wrenching, but one thing about me is I hate losing, so
yeah.
I guess I'd rather go and get 3rd than just give up on the day.
Right.
And I just feel like it. Well, I heard this from somebody, but it's like wrestling back from third is probably the toughest thing ever
Sure.
because
It's longer.
it's longer and it's just like mostly from where I'm at because that was my that was my third time doing it, and I was just like, man, this was my year to win it. I had so much confidence, and it just, well, it was kind of different because I didn't have the confidence I had coming into the tournament that year than this year, and I was the 1 seed both years.
Yeah.
Because this year I felt like I did more of the work. I really pushed myself. I really felt I went to that edge, and then last year I didn't feel like I did that every day.
Mm.
So then when you get to the moments, you're just, when it's getting tough, it's just like easier for you to like fall down when you don't feel as confident in the work you put in. And
Right.
That's what I learned that year, and that's what it was a good lesson to learn, but it was still a tough situation to be in.
Yeah. What's it like navigating the state wrestling tournament? Just like being in the background and waiting and getting the first day done and just all of it. Just after the long season that you went through, and then it's like, okay, I gotta go. I got another tournament to do this. I got to get it done. I got to show up for it. What is that experience with the media and just the waiting and the crowd? And
what I'd have to do is for my freshman year, I burnt myself out. I'd be watching the matches, so many emotions flying around from people winning, people losing, and then being a heavyweight, you're going to be one of the last matches to go. I had to find ways after that year to just get out of there, just go sit in the room, go like be away from it, because even though it's like such a great tournament, it can take it out of you, and just seeing things in there like big upsets, and even though those are cool to watch, it's just a little draining, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Being at like an intense football game all day, you're going to be tired when you get there.
And then you got to go out and play the football game yourself. You're like, oh, it's my turn now?
Yeah, so
I always think about that with you. When I've seen you, it's at the dual meets or at tournaments, I'm just like, man, dude, I can't even like, I paid attention to you a lot, like how you warm up and like when do you start kind of like getting yourself ready, and you just have such a calm spirit. You tell you've mastered it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is, you can see like the younger kids that haven't been there, the freshmen and all that, that they get worked up, super worked up, and then they're just like, they know that they haven't seen the pace yet from being there all day long,
That's what I just have to like keep my mind clear, not focus on what's going on, focus on me, just kind of zone it out. That's what I got really good at, blocking out all the intenseness and just be like zen.
Yeah.
That's what I perform my best.
Well, you had a couple of years to get the practice down, and not everybody can say that they've qualified for state that many times. So you had Jake Walker in the finals from Waverly Shell Rock, 285, Class 3A, and you're the champ. So walk me through that preparation phase, like pre-match and then post-match.
So it was probably...
And you've wrestled Jake a couple times this past season.
Going into that match was like, I've never felt that way because I'm in the finals. I was probably like semis, I'm getting a little worked up because this is semis. And I don't have a good history with the semis, but the finals, I just felt nothing. I just felt peace, I didn't feel stressed. I didn't feel anxious. I just felt ready.
Yeah.
Like, all those times practicing led to this moment right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that when I got on that mat, I'm leaving everything out there no matter what happens. And I felt like it kind of showed the way I wrestled that match.
Yeah.
I came out and I pushed him. I was like, I'm going to fight you for these whole 7.5 minutes.
The whole 7.5 minutes, yeah.
The whole match. And that's kind of like how I felt. I was like, there's nothing to lose. This is the shot I've been waiting for, and I'm going to go seize it. So that's how I was. I watched Tyler, and then watched a couple more matches, and then I just went in the back waiting room, just waiting, waited for it to get a little closer to time.
Before you start, I don't want to gas yourself trying to get warmed up too hyped too early.
That's like, you
I was wondering where you were at, because I was like, in the little hallway, the corridor, as you
Yeah.
make your way out, and Jake was like getting warmed up right there, and he was there for a while, just pacing,
Yeah.
And I know that you guys have wrestled a couple. You wrestled twice. You wrestled him twice
Yeah.
before at state.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always that feeling of like some people get like superstitious or they start getting in their head about things like, oh, I beat him twice. Is he gonna, the pressure's on me. Did you feel any of that? Did you feel like any doubt or like, oh, this might be the time he gets me?
No, I didn't feel anything. I was just so locked in. Like,
Good.
I don't think there's anything that could have like deterred me on what I wanted to go out there and do. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up waiting a little bit longer. I ended up warming up with the Burkle about 195 because they're such long matches.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So 180, it was probably 82, maybe 95. I started really like getting moving, waking up,
Yeah.
And then like when I actually got out there, like started like hanging around like the corridors before like my actual match came up, I was just like all I could see was the top of the podium, and that's like where I'm climbing to be.
You're at the climbing, man. That's why I climb mountains, because I like to see the top of them. When you get up there, your perspective changes.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like even at a podium or whatever else you're climbing in life, a job, a college, a college degree, it's cool when you get up to the top because everything in your perspective is different.
Yeah.
And you can see your offers. You can see the things that are the blessings that are to come ahead.
Yeah.
So you get the W.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you this, like as a I was there filming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a filmmaker, like I always stay disciplined behind my camera, and I don't say stuff. I don't like talk because my voice isn't important for it. But I could not control myself during your match. Tyler's, I did great. I nailed it. But for yours, I just started screaming. I'm like screaming. I'm like 10 seconds, because it was just like a tight, close match at the end right there, and just to see you get it done and I seen you speak to the referee, and it was cool. I got to hear later on what you asked him or said to him, and you want to tell everybody here what was said.
Did I just win?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. I'm glad that I got the words that was actually said from that now. But so yeah, like Tyler Harper was telling me that you forgot to take your shoes off.
Yeah.
So that's the thing you had planned to do.
Yeah, so I won. I'm like, holy crap, just.
Yeah, you went straight for your parents.
Yeah, I had to go hug my mom.
Yeah.
So I went and hugged my mom, and then Tyler's like, go take your shoes off. I'm like, oh, got you. And then the worst part about that is I broke my toe, so I was struggling to get them off, and I tied them pretty tight. But
yeah. There's a video. Somebody has a clip of it. I've seen it somewhere where you're taking them off. You can definitely see it. Your foot was in agony. And isn't it interesting? Like, fighters have done this too, or they've broken their foot or their toe or something, and not even. I've had it during my fights where I came out, I could barely walk, and I was like trying to figure out at what point during the match did he get a hit in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm limping out of the ring. And I realized after I watched the playback, I got nailed. I got kicked in the leg or something. So what happened to your toe? Did it happen during that match, or was it something that you were carried over?
So right before I scored, the second period, and I go for my shot. He breaks out and he shoots on me. I sprawl and I caught my toe on the mat when I was sprawling back in it. I felt like it popped,
Yeah.
But I didn't feel anything after that. So
yeah, that's how that adrenaline gets running,
circled around, hit that reshot, and took him down. And then I'm like, he had me pretty tight when I was like trying to get my two.
Yeah.
So I get out, I'm a little dazed, and then I'm like, did I just break my toe? Then I get up, and then I looked at Brown like, I think I broke my toe. And he's like, don't worry about it. 2 more minutes. And then I'm like, all right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Don't worry about it. That's good though. You didn't.
I know.
And you kept it. You kept it there. You kept vigilance on it. So then you retired it, right? You took the shoes off. You set them in the middle of the mat. Goal accomplished. Why did you make that choice to hang it up?
I just felt like that's where I wanted to close the book on wrestling, on top. My roommate's gonna be Ben Cuter. I don't know if you knew that, but
yeah.
So I might go in and spar a little bit, but I just kind of felt like that's where my career ends, and now I'm a football player. So
Yeah, yeah. How did you get your assignment to be roomed up with Ben Keeter?
he, he just asked me, "Hey, you got a roommate?" I was like, "Nope." He's like, "You want to be roommates?" I was like, "Yep." So that's how it went.
And I think that's cool that like you guys kind of got paired up. Even though you're not wrestling anymore, you have a lot of experience, and I think that always helps having a roommate that's got some similar same experiences.
So one thing that me and him have in common is most of our youth has been dominated by wrestling. So we're not like the biggest football guys
Sure.
ever. So he lives up in Iowa City. So he's been to some of the meetings. He's like, "Man, I just have no idea what they're talking about. Cover 4, all this and that." I'm like, "I don't think I can help you, buddy, but it'll be great to just kind of learn more about the sport while rooming with him. Have somebody to like help, like someone that's like in the same boat as you, because I love football, but haven't been like the most intuitive about learning like my brother Caden. He can like look at a formation and be like, "Oh, I know where the ball's going."
Sure.
I just don't have that knowledge yet because I just been so focused on wrestling my whole life and never really got the time to like pick up on all that.
Sure. Yeah. So you're gonna be a student and mastering it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're headed to Iowa City this next weekend?
Sunday.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
How you feeling? You got everything you need?
Yeah, I'm feeling ready. It's just kind of unreal that I'm going to be taking this like whole new like step into like a different life, and I feel like Norwalk being here has prepared me a lot for some of the upcoming adversity I'm going to feel like
Sure.
I'm going to be receiving. And I don't really know what to say about it. It's just like it's going to happen, and I'm kind of excited, just I don't know what to expect. So
Yeah.
getting down there and working out, I love being pushed. So just having that opportunity to be getting pushed every day with a whole bunch of great guys, like the people in my class. I know that there's a couple great wrestlers there too. Leighton Jones, he's from Indiana. He's a state champ of Indiana. I wish they got me a Night of Conflict match with him. I felt like that would have been hype.
Yeah. That'd been great.
I like talking to him and Ben. There's lots of great wrestlers too there, so I feel like there'll be lots of people I can connect with. So
Sure.
going up there, it's kind of like I feel like it'd be scary if it was just you, but I know there's a lot of other guys.
Yeah. I had one of your teammates come to my jiu-jitsu school last week.
Really?
Yeah. He played football at Indianola. He's a
Kale Caleric?
Kale. Yeah, Cleric. Yeah.
Yeah.
He stopped in my gym, did some jiu-jitsu with us.
Really?
It was cool. Yeah, he was back in town visiting his family. Yeah, strong kid,
Yeah.
athletic kid. I think he's safety, right? Plays safety.
Yeah. He used to be a running back in high school.
Really? Yeah, he's got those legs for it for sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him do a little bit more jiu-jitsu.
I've been thinking about getting into jiu-jitsu, not gonna
You
lie.
should. Like, I think it like the same benefits you seen out of wrestling that transferred for football. It's the same. Like you're gonna get a little bit more flexible.
That's
You're gonna have. I like it because honestly, obviously it keeps me young, right? It keeps me
Yeah.
like feeling young, and I still scrap with. If you come in, we're gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I like it because it's like chess.
Really?
It's like a thinking man's game. Because like when I asked Tyler Harper when he came and did jiu-jitsu for a day, he was like, I was like, "What's the difference?" And he's like, "It's slower."
Really?
Right. So when you have a chance to slow a fight down, it becomes more methodical, right? It's
Yeah.
like if you put your hand here, you might be putting your hand into a viper's pit.
Right.
And I compare like wrestling as like hammer and nail,
Mhm.
and jiu-jitsu as like screw and screwdriver.
Mm.
So yeah, I think you'd be great at it. I think all your brothers would be really good at it, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I'd really like to get my hips a lot more flexible and stuff like that. So
yeah, and you're always welcome at the school to come up and train. Just come on up. We got some big guys in there that will roll around with you. But there's also a school in Iowa City. If you end up staying up there a lot more often instead of coming home, there is a good school out in Iowa City that teaches jiu-jitsu, and they have a really, really good school. So, and I know a lot of guys that go to Iowa train at that school as well. So that opportunity is always going to be there. Plus, what are you going to do after football, you
Yeah.
know, or after college, you know, hopefully NFL, you know, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But if not, you could make a pretty mean heavyweight in mixed martial arts, I think. It wouldn't take you long. Okay, so I want to do something new here. Is I reached out and found some people that were fans of the show and asked them a question for you. You know, like what question do you have for Maddux, knowing that you're going to be on the podcast. So the first one question is from Serenity, and she wants to know. She's seen you wrestle several times. She wants to know how you stay so calm, because at least the appearance, the appearance is something I haven't seen out of any wrestler. Just a really, even when you're walking out, you're warming, it just seems like you're just like, it almost looks like I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that, but like it just has this total calmness about you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just how I always kind of been. I just kind of like, I don't really show how I'm feeling, but I do lots of breathing techniques, you know?
Yeah. I do know about breathing.
Yeah. So, yeah, keep my breath nice. Not trying to like, you know, like over breathe. I run through like the match in my head, you know, like really, I like to watch people wrestle, you know? So if I'm wrestling someone that I've seen wrestle before, I'm going to be like, I know they're going to throw. I'm going to avoid locking up with them. Yeah.
See, that's why you'd be good at jiu-jitsu, because that's what jiu-jitsu is right there.
Yeah, so
It's a real methodical game.
That's how I'll depict people. I know Jake Walker, he likes to try and get you to step in before he shoots. I'm thinking about, if he does this, I'm going to do that. If he does this, I'm going to do that. That's kind of like that's what's going on through my head. I just keep my breath shallow. I like to think I'm going to control what I can control. I know that I'm big. I know that I'm strong. I know that I'm fast. I just lots of reassurance, you know, just motivating myself. And I don't like to try and get too intense, because I like to keep my head, like, you know, able to think. Because I kind of see lots of thinking in wrestling too. Not obviously as like as prevalent as in like jiu-jitsu, but when I wrestle, I like to like, well, this guy likes to lead with this hand, or he likes to collar tie here. I like to find ways to make people uncomfortable and keep them out of where they like to be comfortable. So,
yeah, that's a great. The game plan, your game plan, your rehearsal and practices, and breathing. Yeah, that's a great one. People ask me the same thing when I'm teaching classes. They're like, it just looks like you're not even trying. And I was like, and I tell them too, the same thing is like, I focus on my breathing. Yeah. Even when I'm like climbing mountains at altitude, like breathing is the only way you're going to get up there. Like you can be in good shape, you know, you can have the physical attributes to get it done. But like, if you don't have your breathing down, you're going to, that elevation is going to get you every time. So yeah, that carries over into any sport, I think. In studying, taking tests, anything that has pressure built into it, if you get your breathing under control, you can navigate that pretty in a better way than you would if you were over exaggerated with your emotions. If you're high, you know, you're trying to get yourself hyped up. Yeah. That's another thing is like, do you believe that you shouldn't have to get up for a match, or do you think that a person has to like be like motivated or pumped to go do it?
Yeah. So I feel like that's like the wrong type of motivation to have. And that type of like thinking is what gets you caught, because then if you're at a tournament, you're thinking about, man, I'm going to have like Jessaroga in the finals. Somebody else is going to sneak up and catch you.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
That's what you said happened to you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened to me. I always think that when I get up, I'm going to become better than I did yesterday. I'm going to become the best I can. Like that's like every time I do something, like in all of my sports, I just want to be the best version I can.
Yeah.
So that's my motivation, my get up.
That's my motivation too, to help myself and other people always to see the highest version of themselves. Second question here comes from Kevin. Kevin wants to know why Iowa. Why'd you choose Iowa? I think we kind of covered that already, but
yeah. So Kelvin Bell, he's the D-line coach, and he's the guy that I talk to a lot. And when I get there, I'll probably be spending most of my time with him. And he's just a really great guy, really down to earth, and he's really straightforward with you. Like some coaches, they might try and like we have the best program. We have like they'll
Sure.
try and like they're trying to like sell it to you. He was just telling, like he was talking to me, like he treated me like it was just a one-on-one talk, like person to person. And that's what I really liked about him. And he really just stood out as a person for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big factor on why I chose Iowa. I liked him so much. He taught me about the recruitment process, like, cause I'm like, I never really been involved in all that stuff. I never
Mhm.
really posted football film. I never was trying to get recruited as heavily as like some people do, and I didn't really know what was going on when it all happened. And he just talked me straight through it. He's kind of like, he's just a great guy.
He's just being real with you.
Yeah, that's what I really
Yeah.
liked. He was 100 with me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and he's like, when you get here, that day is gonna be the best you feel for the next 4 years.
The day off.
Yeah.
Right.
The first day you get here is gonna be the best you feel for the next 4 years. I was like,
Yeah, but imagine what you're going to look like in 4 years too.
oh yeah.
Put the work in
Mhm.
and where you're going to be at, man. I can't wait to see those blessings roll through your life. The next question here comes from Kurt. He wants to know the expectations and the preparations you have about going into the Big Ten. What are your expectations?
So, my expectations is it's obviously going to be a ton of work, but they're going to give me all the tools that I need to be successful. So it's just in timing, you know, like freshman year, if I can go there and if they think I can play, I'll play, but if they redshirt me, they redshirt me. It's just going to be like following the process. That's what I'm going to be really focused on. Like, I'm going to be doing a lot to become better, you know, but I don't know. I'm just going to like go with the flow, like trust what they're doing. Cause I know they've sent lots of people to the NFL. They
Yeah,
just
they did.
sent Lucas Van Ness first round, and he didn't even start that much. Like, and he was a D lineman. He didn't even start all the time. So it was just like, that's just kind of like, I trust these guys so much that they're going to be putting me in the right direction. It's just going to be becoming like a physically better athlete, like a better student, a better person, being a better coachable person. That's kind of like what my goals are, and I'm just gonna expect them that they're gonna get me right.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't get to ask you. Is this is the fourth question. It's my question. Is what's your major going to be in? Have you decided that?
I'm thinking economics.
Economics.
Mhm.
What was the choice behind that?
Well, my mom is in economics.
Ah.
That's where she majored in. So let's say like sports doesn't work out at the end of like my career at
Yeah.
Iowa, I can hopefully just hop on the bandwagon, get a job where my mom works, and
Sure,
it could be like a great way to get my career started up because she's already been working there.
for sure. It's not what you know. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
who you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. You already got the plug.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's Friday.
Mhm.
Tomorrow is your graduation party.
Yeah.
I heard it's going to be a big deal. It's like the last party of the year type
Yeah.
thing before you take off.
Mhm.
How you feeling about that?
I feel great that I get like one more chance to just kind of like see everybody that stops by, say some goodbyes, you know, because probably the last time I see lots of those people that attend. So
Yeah, you family, a lot of family coming in.
yeah.
Cool. Your brother's excited, obviously.
Yeah.
They're getting all the other gear picked out, their outfits picked out and everything.
Yeah.
Cool. And you guys are going to be at the Luana building, right?
Yeah.
I won't give times or addresses. I don't want it to be overflowed with people because I heard Buck's going to be there.
Yeah.
Big Uncle Country's going to be in the house. Yeah.
He might perform.
Yeah, I heard. Tell me a little bit about where Buck came from.
Well, I think we're listening to some country music. Yeah. He likes to.
We're talking about Maddux's dad, by the way.
Yeah. So my dad, he's funny, and he was singing, and I think he said like, "Call me Big Uncle Country," and then my brother Colin ended up coming with the acronym Buck,
I love it.
and it just stuck ever since. And it's been so funny just listening to him sing and dance. But I like it. It's kind of a hype man now. Like,
Yeah.
He'd make these videos for the football team. I don't know if you ever
Yeah,
seen any
yeah.
of those, but he'll always send out like a message before the games, and he's
a pretty good wordsmith.
yeah,
That rapping, singing side of him,
Yeah.
the artistic, creative side of him.
Yeah, so Buck's kind of just like a motivational speaker at this point for
I love that.
Norwalk Athletics.
Good for him. I'm going to keep pushing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep pushing him in that direction. So awesome. I hope you have a good time at your party and everybody shows up and you get to keep that memory forever.
Thank you.
Any words you want to send out to Norwalk athletes, wrestling, football, any words of encouragement?
Just stick with it, you know, like it's not going to happen overnight. Like people think I just won the state title in 2033, but the work started back all the way in third grade when I first started wrestling, and then it just cultivated and cultivated.
Yeah.
So sticking with it and being disciplined is very important when you're doing athletics. And it's just about like treating your body right too. You just can't go to the practices every day and then go home, get 4 hours of sleep and eat like crap. You got to make sure that you're just all around disciplined around the clock. Like it might not look like it, but I'm always conscious of what I eat. I'm always conscious of how much sleep I'm getting, and then I'm always conscious of how hard I'm pushing myself. And then if you do all those little things, you'll grow exponentially.
Yeah, yeah. Hard work pays off, man.
Yeah.
Plus, man, stay in the process. I always encourage people to stay with the process because everybody, when they experience something hard, they want out. They want to, I don't want to do a wrestle. I don't want to wrestle anymore. I don't want to play football anymore. I don't want to have the hard practices anymore. I don't want to have the losses anymore. But like you said, you're a prime example that, you started out, it was something that you wasn't winning at all. You didn't win you didn't win a match the whole year.
Yeah.
Then you came back and you placed, and then you rose to the occasion after, 4 goes at the state tournament. You get it done. Stay the process, everybody. You'll be surprised what the outcome will be if you stay with the process. Most people don't want the process though.
Yeah.
So, okay, Maddux, last 3 things here. If you could have 3 wishes, what would they be?
Definitely $1 billion.
Okay.
And then I'd wish for, my mom makes this thing. It's called a peanut butter ball, and it's really delicious. I'd wish for like an infinite one, like a protein ball that never goes away. It's not as healthy as a protein ball, but it's like a Rice Krispie rolled up in like a peanut butter, and then it's like dipped in chocolate. It's so good. And then she'll freeze them.
Oh, nice.
I wish like I'd have one, and like if I bit into it,
it just regrew.
Yeah,
that's sweet. Hey, Jenny, I'll take a couple packs, maybe like 5 or 6 of those little. I want to give them a try. Other than that, we'll see if we can create the never ending ball. That'd be awesome. Well, that's wish number 2.
Yeah. Then I'd wish for a pillow that was always chilly. Like sometimes my head gets super hot, and then my pillow's super hot, and then like when you flip it, it's cold.
Yeah.
I wish it just always felt like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same exact way. Same with my feet. Like I have to have my feet get too hot, my foot comes out of the bed just to catch that cold air. Like that's the temperature I want. So that's a good one too. Someone needs to create that. And that's your billion. There's your $1 billion. You make the cooling pillow.
Yeah,
that's got a thermostat or temperature settings on it. There you go. And make it form for football players and wrestlers. There it is. Everybody get that pillow today. Yeah. All right, man. It was it's good having you on the show. I've enjoyed our experience together, being your neighbor and being someone in the community, watching you grow. And I'm so proud of you, and I know God's proud of what you're doing. So I wish you the best of luck at Iowa this next year and your life from there on out. Best of luck, Maddux. Thanks for coming on the show.